Hey everybody. Um, I thought I'd just go live for a few minutes because about 20 minutes ago, I I just got news that the legendary John Romita has passed away. Um, One of the greatest comic book artists, creators uh, to ever work in the field. Uh, yeah, a lot of comic book creator deaths hit me hard. Um, I don't know. This one, I didn't expect it. I didn't expect it to hit me as hard as it is. But yeah, I'm finding myself at a kind of at a loss for words, if you will. And I guess I was just shocked, which is, I suppose you can say, odd in a sense, because the fact of the matter is, John was 93 years old. I knew that, he had not been in the greatest health for quite some time. And yeah, but I hadn't been hearing much about him for a while. And somehow it's weird. It's weird that it's still kind of a shock. It comes as a shock somehow. I don't know why. Maybe it's the stature, the legendary stature of the man. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what it is, but it's a great, great loss. First of all, condolences obviously go out to John Romita's wife, Virginia, his two sons, all his grandkids, and obviously to all his fans around the world. Yeah, massive loss. I see that a bunch of the news outlets are picking up the story. What I know, what I can tell you, is simply that the news was put out by John's son, John Jr., and he put that out on Twitter. If I can, I'll just read it. I say this with a heavy heart. My father passed away peacefully in his sleep. He is a legend in the art world, and it would be my honor to follow in his footsteps. Please keep your thoughts and condolences here out of respect for my family. He was the greatest man I ever met. Yeah. So what the news outlets are reporting is that he passed on the 12th. So a little over 24 hours ago. So not just earlier today on the 13th, but apparently the night or day before. Yeah, so yeah, not much else to say. I just thought I'd put the news out because, like I said, it hit me pretty hard. I don't know why. Like I said, I don't know why it was shocking, because, like I said, I knew that he was not in the greatest of health lately. But yeah, somehow still shocking. I guess it's one of those things where your heroes, if you will. You sometimes you think they're gonna live forever. No matter what, you think they're always gonna be around. Because you kind of take it for granted sometimes that obviously we're all fallible, and we all have to go eventually. Yeah. Hey, David. G'day, mate. Very sad. Absolutely. Absolutely. Uh, yeah, yeah, I'm still kind of stunned about it. Wow, it's just wow, crazy. It really, yeah, I don't know why. I don't know why. I don't know why. Of all the people, even after George Perez, Neil Adams, John Buscema hit me hard, Alfredo Alcala, yeah, a lot of them. But for some reason, I don't know. Somehow it seems like John Romita was like a giant among all the rest of those giants, you know, and all of these giants are sort of leaving. Uh, you know, with every passing year, there are fewer and fewer of them left. You know, he was one of the last. Um, yeah, it's just sad. It's just really, really sad. And yeah, it's got to be really rough for the family, for his peers. Like I said earlier, as soon as I heard the news, it's about a half hour ago now. The second I heard the news, the interesting thing is I hadn't spoken to Mike Berkey in quite some time. The second I heard the news, I thought of him. And so I immediately fired off an email to him. As most of you know, Mike has been John's biggest booster, fan, friend that anybody in this hobby has seen. Mike single-handedly did more to elevate John Romita's status within, I think, the hobby and within the industry, if you will, than anybody else, really. Just with this sheer love and passion for John Romita's work. His constant promoting and pushing of it. His love for it. So yeah. So I fired. Crazy enough, that's the first thing I did as soon as I heard. Is I said, "Oh, geez, I better fire off a message of condolences to Mike." And so I did that. And so yeah, I hope he's doing okay. I saw he had been firing off a ton of uploading a button. I kept getting email messages, notifications telling me that he was uploading a ton of art to his site, and it just made me wonder if he'd. I assume he'd already known. He had heard it. Probably, I would have thought before anybody else. And maybe he's just trying to bury himself in work to try to just sort of not think about it for a while. I don't know. Just an assumption of my part, of course. But yeah, hey, Mr. Red Jack, how you doing, Brian? Good to see you. Yeah, massive, massive loss to the industry. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. As I was saying earlier, Brian, if you're wondering why I'm doing this, I truthfully, I don't even know. I just, yeah, it's kind of it's hitting me harder than pretty much any other artist or creator death ever has. And I don't know. I just felt I'd take a few minutes to create a little graphic so I could schedule a little impromptu video just to speak on it a little bit. And yeah, it's just shocking. Oh, hey, Comic Art Boston. Good evening to you. I said, or I guess good morning now. Absolutely shocking news. Yes, my friend. Oh no, there's no reason to thank me. One of the greatest comic book artists and an even greater person. Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Uh, yeah, just I met him myself. Had the great fortune to meet him at a New York convention on more than one occasion, actually, and just to stand. And I don't do this very often, but to stand around at tables and listen to artists speak. Um, it's not something I've done often, as I say, but I had the opportunity to do so many years ago now. With at a New York convention, as I said, this was going back a long time. I mean, before the current New York conventions, the what do they call it? The NYCC was happening. This goes back to when the a few years earlier. I think they started doing those conventions in 2006 or 2007, perhaps. And so this would have been at a convention. I don't know, 2001, 2002, something like that, at a hotel. So I don't remember the hotel, but yeah, it was just a joy to stand there and just listen to John speak about his time breaking in as a professional. So back in the early days, all the way through to the advent of the Marvel Universe in the early '60s. His jumping on that Daredevil issue. He spoke about that a little bit, and then becoming the replacement for Steve Ditko on Spider-Man. Yeah, and as I said, it was such a joy to listen to him. Uh, he always spoke with such joy in his voice. You could always tell that John Romita loved what he did. He loved the industry, and even though I will say, he did admit when he was speaking, and I was standing there listening, he did admit that even for him, just like many artists of his generation had said over the years, that even for him it was a job and that he had to feed the family. He did admit that, openly to us, those of us who were standing there listening. um, but you could tell, or at least I could tell, that he still managed to speak of the industry with such reverence. And he understood that it was a business as well. He understood it was all about the money ultimately for the publishers. But he really, I could tell, he truly, truly loved it. He loved what he did. And not only as an artist, as a creator, but even later on, when was it? In the early '80s that he became the official art director at Marvel, and then took on less of a role as a monthly artist. Yeah, and he just he mentored so many artists. Those of you who were around in the '80s will remember how he started up the Romita's Raiders, which was essentially a mentoring program. Although he had been mentoring people throughout his career. I mean, Ron Wilson. I don't know how many of you know, but Ron Wilson, he attributes the majority of his success to John Romita's tutelage. And he worked closely under John in the mid '70s, early to mid '70s. And yeah, and then many artists throughout the '80s as part of the Romita's Raiders mentoring program. Whatever. I'm not sure even what John Romita himself called that, but that's essentially what it was: is to just mentor and give a helping hand to upcoming artists who were close but not quite ready to break in, and guiding them, providing that guidance that they needed in order to finally take that last step and go pro. Um, and then ultimately into the 90s, I think the mid 90s, when he took like an official semi-retirement. Yeah. Um, yeah, it's just yeah, what an amazing person and creator. From all accounts, I mean, obviously, I'd only got the chance to listen to him a few times in person, thankfully. So I didn't know him at all, and I certainly would not claim that. Um, but by all accounts, from stories that I've heard from other people, he was an even greater, a greater man and greater father and then husband than he was an artist. That's literally what many people have said. Um, yeah, so that makes me happy, and as often tends to happen in these occasions when our favorite creators pass on. Um, we you can't help, I suppose, but reminisce. And it brings back all these memories of their creations, um, whatever joy that the books they created gave us as we were younger and even into adulthood and beyond. Yeah, it's just amazing. And someone like John Romita, who was at the advent of the Marvel Universe, really had a huge hand in creating and helping guide and form it. Uh, Gosh, even you think about into the 1970s, 1974, he co-created Wolverine. I mean, probably the most popular character of the last 50 or almost 50 years, and many others. I mean, his contributions go so far beyond just Spider-Man, if you think about it that way. Even though that's what he'll always be remembered for mostly. But yeah, his contributions go so much further than that. Yeah, it's really amazing. Yeah, I'm still so, having only done live content. I figured I would just, this was very impromptu, and I thought I would just sort of, I wanted to record myself and then just sort of upload it to my channel. But I've never done a recording, so I didn't know how to do it. And I just, it's very late for me. It's 4:20 in the morning where I live, and yeah, I had no time to try to learn how to how to do the recording, and I just wanted to do it quickly. So that's why I'm doing this live. So of course I forgot that by going live, there might be some of you who might actually get a notification and tune in. So I didn't intend for this to become an interactive thing, but I appreciate those of you again who've come in and to share in this sad news with me. Again, David, Brian, Comic Art Boston. We may as well reminisce together and share our thoughts. So my YouTube channel is a beautiful thing where we can share sadness and tribute together, literally across the world as fans. Yeah, thank you. I guess so. I mean, this wasn't what I'm doing now. Here is wasn't quite what the channel was intended for, of course. But yeah, I mean, I guess it's a little bit of a platform that we can absolutely do that, David. A great way to share usually in our happiness. So I suppose why not share in our sadness together as well. So why not? But yeah, thank you. So I never had the privilege of meeting him in person, but everyone had nothing but the highest praise for him, whether orally or in print. And that is extremely rare. Absolutely. I still remember first seeing his cover to ASM 39. Yeah, it really stunned me as a very young child. Yeah, absolutely, Comic Art Boston. Yes, absolutely. I know, I know, I do. Thank you. but I'm happy to come on and do it. It's only, for 20 minutes or so. Not such a big deal. I'm just happy to do it. I'm at, like I said, it's odd because I'm sort of fumbling over my words because just this sort of weird sense of shock that came over me when I heard the news, and I don't know, I just felt compelled to just come on and like I said, record something, but I had to do it live since I don't know how to record and upload. Yeah, and I'm just trying to formulate my thoughts and just thinking how sad it all is. And I feel terrible again for all of John's family, his entire family, his large family, and his as I said, his peers, and his all the people, all the fans that love him all over the world. So that's it, everyone. That's all I wanted to do. I didn't want this to go long. I figured it would be maybe 5 or 10 minutes. And I'm starting to repeat myself anyway. So I do want to say thank you to those of you who did get notified. I didn't realize I would get notifications would go out. So thank you for those of you who took the time to come in and the four of you that came in and shared your thoughts with me as well. I really, really appreciate it. And so, yeah, my condolences to all of you as well, because if you're here, it's because you guys were also fans like I was, your whole lives. And yeah, it's nice to know. And like you said, David, nice to share in it, in our just like we share in our happiness here every Sunday night. It's nice that I could do this, and that a few of you could come in and share in our sadness as well. So thank you. I thank the four of you very, very much, as always, not only for this, but as I always say every week on my show, thank you for always tuning in and supporting me and having my back on Sunday nights as well. I really, really appreciate that. Thank you, Comic Art Boston. I appreciate it. And yourselves as well. Get some rest. And yes, absolutely. That's exactly it. I didn't want to get too morose about it. But at the same time, I thought, well, if I try to celebrate his life, I could, know me, I could be here easily for hours. And literally in the next 2 to 3 hours, it'd be probably early enough for the people on the East Coast to start waking up and seeing that I'd still be here talking. So, and then it'd go for a few more hours. So, but this I don't want this to be a show. I wanted it to be a message, just to I guess try to formulate my thoughts about the sad news and put it out there. Yeah, and that's it. So I've said everything I need to say. So I do appreciate again everybody who has listened. Yeah, and thank you. I will I guess leave the video off with the little graphic that I created, so everybody knows what this was about. So yeah, thank you once again to the four of you. Really, really appreciate it. And yeah, to everybody else, my condolences to everybody who loved John and John's work. My sincere condolences to everybody. Thank you very much for listening. Good night.